Alright. What's up, everybody? We've got Shopify Rebellion's BYUN down here in the bottom left side, and his opponent Classic in the top right. Bit of a mismatch, you might say. Classic, he's washed up. He came back from the military, but I gotta say, guys, he has been smashing lately. He's been getting really good. I'm not saying he's top tier. I'm not saying he's as reliable as a hero or a max packs just yet, but I'm telling you, he's powering up to the power he had in 2019. The power that he had in 2014 when he won his first GSL title. He has been on a tear. Now, this is the quarterfinal match from the Warty TV Korean Royale, which is kind of like the replacement GSL right now. It's a $10,000 tournament they're running, I believe, like every month, or at least every month when schedule allows it. And it's insane. It's a big prize pool for a monthly tournament, and it's trying to replace the fact that there isn't that much prize for each GSL season this year. So it's just for players living over there in Korea. I believe Scarlet played this season as well. I'm not sure if Special managed to make it in, but cool to see. BYUN down here is one of the favorites to go very far. Classic, who is one of the players I originally learned how to play PvT off in 2016. Balance was a little bit different then. He'd always open up with one Oracle into one Void Ray, place, and then go Colossus, and then try to secure a third off one gate, one Stargate, one Colossus. It was kind of like the precursor to the Phoenix Colossus style, and the reason it worked, I'm pretty sure Void Rays, when they turned on their boost, didn't have a movement slow back then. So you could reliably shut down drops from going through, say this area with like a single Void Ray would always kill the medevac. As long as you activated the beam quick enough, you could kill a full medevac before it got past your dead space. It was really sick. Anyways, I'm just kind of gushing about the old days because Classic brings my memories back. I used to compete against this guy, and one of my favorite stories about the plight of being an Australian pro gamer was when in the early days of StarCraft 2, we used to have our own qualifiers. Australia, Oceania, Southeast Asia would get one qualification spot, but I'm gonna have to tell that story later. It's a fun story because it's a story of Classic ripping my head off and you know, pooping down my head. Anyways, Marauders with concussive catch the Adept. Uh-oh, Classic does shade in. That's a big mistake for him, guys. Uh-oh. This is not looking good for him. Throwing away the Adept is always nasty. The Zealot is gonna be annoying. BYUN's gonna have to micro on two fronts. Well, I guess the other ones don't really have to micro, so good recall for Classic. He immediately drops a shield battery, which he desperately needs. 18 seconds till that finishes. He's gonna have a Stalker on the way, but no Chrono Boost available right now. Stargate is fantastic against this opening if you get up a super early unit, but because BYUN didn't even build a Marine early on, I mean, he's building them now, but he went straight Tech Lab Marauder. I think he knows that Classic doesn't like to scout, and he's trying to counter it with this. But you know what? Classic may have lost an Adept, maybe forced to build a shield battery, but his Oracle's still on time. He's gonna Chrono Boost that. And his probing's relatively uninterrupted, so BYUN's put on some pressure, but no massive damage being found. I guess it does counter the fact that Classic opened up with the early Zealot, so you know what, bit of tit for tat there, and a 3 racks follow-up for BYUN. Now what would be really cool, he won't do it, is if he went another Reactor, and actually just went for a mass Marine timing. But as you can see, he's not doing any add-on. Surely he builds it. If he doesn't build an add-on now, BYUN is basically just looking for one big surprise timing, and I think he might go concussive even after Stim if he does that, but Oracle's about to come in. There is a missile turret in the mineral line and the main. That one SCV is exposed though. Good micro by Classic. Gets it, and you know what? As long as you don't lose it, you're okay. The missile turrets are very expensive, as is the Marauder opening, so it's not like this is a quick 3 racks. You might think 3 racks hits at about 5 minutes, and it normally does. This 3 racks? No. This isn't going to hit you until much later in the game. And there we go. Lots more Marines are building. He's actually moving out now with... Okay, I mean, that's a bizarre timing. 3 Marauders, 10 Marines. I say it's bizarre, but bizarre might just be what he needs here. The Oracle sees no units hanging out. How many gateways we got? 2. He's got 2 gateways. He could warp in a few more Stalkers. He's trying to make shield batteries. Stalkers are very weak to Marauders, though. And, oh, the Oracle does get stimmed on by those Marines. He needs this Immortal very badly. Classic is in a very dangerous position right now. He's got to kind of hang between the bases, but those shield batteries aren't quite ready, and Stim is ready. Oh, he's going to go for it. He goes for the big YOLO, does BYUN. I think maybe cancel the shield batteries is worth it for Classic, but he says, no, I'll just use them as a distraction. One gets focused down, one gets canceled. BYUN says, okay, guys, we've got a drug problem. We need to go back to rehab right now because every Stim is unhealable. With no shields, no concussive. Actually, he does have concussive, never mind. But Classic, I don't know if you want to go up there, man. Ooh, okay, yeah, good choice to pull back. You don't want to chase him on the high ground, even with the Adept Shade giving vision. Classic's going Colossus, though. This has actually been a really good opening in those regards. He's only up a couple workers, but his third's up. His third's up. He's deflected the attacks, and most importantly, the Oracle. I told you guys, he liked to open it with an Oracle back in the day, and he was the first guy who taught me about Oracle conservation. Basically, if you never lose that Oracle, it is one of the best, most renewable units. It will get so much value. If you lose it, though, it's a huge cost. It costs 300 resources, and then you're very blind because you can't really afford to be building Observers while making Immortals and Colossus. That Oracle needs to track where this big bio army is. But notice he's never just clicking it and looking away. Whenever it's in a dangerous area, he's keeping his eyes on where that is. Very well done. And just kind of delays tagging that army. Didn't want to tag it too early because he's low on energy. But he does tag it now. BYUN going onto that third command center. I don't think Classic saw that. No, he did actually. So he knows there's a follow-up that is economic. For now, though, just a bunch of unupgraded gateway units and a Colossus. An 8 Marine drop is going to move down the right side. BYUN not being too secretive with that. That's interesting. Stalkers will take out a Marine, damage the medevac, and then just pull back on that side. Good micro bite. Classic. BYUN's just trying to scare him right now. +1 attack, about halfway finished. Extra gateways are now going down for Classic, so he's going to be going up to 6 gateways. No Forge just yet, but Blink is on the way. That's going to give him a little bit of maneuverability to deal with those air units. A few Stalkers in the main. There's no shield battery here. Double Forge. Oh my. Oh me, oh my. This is a scary moment in the game, guys. We've got a 2-prong drop. Classic's going to need to show some good multitasking. He's got a Colossus in the main. Okay, he's got to deal with that right now. He's got to deal with that, but he just walled himself off. Oh no! Bad SimCity. Bad SimCity here for Classic. Oh no, that caused a bit of a reaction. Means 6 probes go down unnecessarily. He's reacting a lot quicker on this one, though. Very well done, but that leaves the third base wide open. BYUN's going to dive on in there. Marine drop comes back in the main. He's doing very nice 3-pronged aggression. The army is trying to make its way back down here. You can see the way BYUN's moving. He picks up from this side and moves. And this is terrible SimCity by Classic. I've always talked about how you do not want to wall off your own base here. And that's exactly what Classic has done. He's built a full wall there and there. And it is punishing him so hard. Going to drop on top of the Colossus and take it down. Oh no, Classic. Well, you know, he's cleaning up these units. The Phoenix will shut down that medevac. It looks like those two guys will get out of there. But 14 probes going down, and man, it's such a bummer. Classic looked like he was so well set up, but going for the double Forge, walling himself out of his main, and just having a really kind of dodgy wall-off setup. I sometimes get it. You don't want them to be able to just stim from here to here. They have to pick up and move, but then you have to go all that way around, and that's so awkward. To move from here all the way around into your mineral line is very, very awkward. Classic's going to counterattack right now. He feels desperate. There's 3 tanks, though, so as long as BYUN pulls his workers back, and he does do that, yeah, there's no way to break those tanks. Still an 8 Marine drop there. Oh! Flies it in. Classic actually gets a full medevac. That's okay for Classic. He hasn't been able to afford the 1-1 upgrades just yet. Oracle's going to fly in. Oh, go for the Fresh Mules. Fresh Mules are high-value targets, guys. 225 minerals that could have been harvested going down on that Fresh Mule. Pretty good Oracle harass. And the Warp Prism getting ready to go in that main. He doesn't actually have vision of the edge of his main. So BYUN here, very focused on the scary frontal counter push. He doesn't know where that army is. As far as he knows, it's right there. He's keeping his tanks in a pretty defensive spot. His Bio Ball nearby. Ghost Transition on the way. But check this out. Classic has leaned back. He said, no, 1-1 upgrades are here. I know you're the big favorite in this match. BYUN's kind of the king of TvP right now. I actually think his TvP sometimes looks... him and Q both actually look so fantastic in this matchup right now that I kind of feel like they're just as scary, if not scarier, than Maru. And I know that's heresy, and people are like, shut up, Pig, don't ever say anything about anyone being better than Maru. If there's something we've learned over the years, it's that Maru fanboys are some of the most fragile. Oh, to be fair, there's a few. Any famous player, I think, it always gets a few people. Oh no! Classic loses a Colossus! Oh no. The Phoenix picks up a Stalker. Classic misclicking like mad. He's a bit panicky right now. His adrenaline's jumping all over the place. Does he have anything to block a rotate into the main? He doesn't. Maybe, hopefully he has recall energy. He does have recall energy there, but here we go. He's going to try and go forward. Charge just isn't quite ready. Oh no, Classic. Going in just before charge is ready. He drops some adepts on the flank of that army. He's got nothing in the main to deal with this, as I pointed out before. Oh, he needed to wait there, but he was losing so many probes, he didn't feel that he could. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. A Stalker warping and those 2 Immortals, but BYUN quickly focuses down a bunch of Stalkers. Oh, I don't like that. I liked it, then I don't like it. And an Immortal as well. Stalkers are so expensive, guys. You cannot be affording to lose those for a couple of Marines and Marauders. Oh, this is just too much for BYUN. Ever since that first drop got momentum, I feel like you give BYUN an inch, he'll take a mile. It really, it's all that wall off and that bad SimCity making it fall apart. GG, well played. And this is something I've actually changed in my own play, guys, is I don't like to wall this area off anymore. Or if I do, I like to stop the buildings there and then leave a big opening here. But to continue building gateways like this, big mistake for Classic, costs him big time. All right, a nice smooth opening there for BYUN. Momentum from start to finish. And you know what? If you let him sit outside your base, all it takes is one slip up and he's going to run away with those games. Shopify Rebellion's BYUN looking fantastic in that one. Classic in the top right. Had some really promising moments, but we see what happens when you just have so little room for error in those scenarios. And with only an Oracle out, no observers, BYUN kind of knocking on the door. There's no spotting pylons. I mean, Classic basically has to just be very well set up and react near perfectly. And especially when you're going double forge, you just don't have a lot of room to be making mistakes. The SimCity unfortunately cost him there. So, like I said earlier, guys, just to think about your SimCity if you're a Protoss player. If you build a Cybercore there, that's cool because the Reaper can't run in, right? And you could even build another building here. Well, you can't because that pylon's not in range. But anything beyond there, if you go building, 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 you create a giant wall. And this is like a general rule for Terran and Protoss, is always try to leave a nice gap. 1 or 2 spaces, and then start building your next building. And it just allows your units to move between your bases, especially if you know you're playing a style like that last game where, what do you got? An Oracle. You didn't build any Phoenix until very late. You don't have Blink. So you don't have any air control. You need to be able to move around just ground units, Colossus, Immortal, Zealot, Stalkers, and rotate between where their drops move. Otherwise, they're going to drop you to death. So it's super important in those scenarios to not have any buildings blocking your free movement of your units. Classic is once again not probe scouting. Guys, this is very greedy, but for those who've been watching, you know, my stream over a few months ago when I was grinding Protoss really hard, every game, this is what I did. Pretty much every game on ladder. Until people actually started cheesing, I'd say, you know what? The thing is, a lot of people are like, but then if you don't scout and they're proxy raxing, and the thing is, you just have more minerals if you don't probe scout, which means your Nexus goes down faster. So even though he's gone Nexus before Cybercore, the Cybercore is only like 3 seconds later than going core before Nexus with an early probe scout. So this just, it basically means, especially on a big map like Altitude, it's quite safe. You really should feel quite fine here. You're also up against BYUN, who doesn't usually scout. He just kind of picks his build and goes with it. And look how early that Stargate is, guys. It's a 2-minute 13 Stargate. And that's all off of the fact that you skipped the early scout. He's just gone to check, oh, is there like a proxy marauder coming? No proxy marauder, we're good. So I like it, playing a bit greedy. Now, I don't think it's good to do this every game because obviously Terran can take advantage if they know that you're always going to play like this. But the thing is that you're very greedy at the start, and then by 3-4 minutes, your greed has paid off and you're simply in a safer position. So this is something people don't always understand about greed, and it takes a long time to set in. You got to be a really experienced StarCraft player, I feel, before you really start understanding that timing, that greed is very temporary. And if you get away with that greed, you're actually safer at every other point past that in the game because you just have more stuff. And that's something that a lot of people struggle to wrap their heads around. You know, you got to realize StarCraft is a game of mental flexibility. It is all about timing. It's, okay, I'm strong at this point, but weak at this point. I'm weak at that point, but I'm strong at that point. And that's the sort of game you got to understand. A lot of people get very egotistical. Oh, I can't believe you would play so greedy versus me. That's disgusting. And the reason I learned this lesson is I actually said this to one of my practice partners in the very early days of StarCraft 2. I was like, dude, you can't just play 3 commands at every game. That's disgusting. And he's like, you never punish it. He was like, dude, as long as I keep getting away with it, it's not greedy. That's the way he explained it. It was a really simple way. He had a very simple way with words of getting, he's like, that's it. Like, you're an idiot, basically, you know? And I was like, well, but not like, what if I do that? And he's like, cool, then I'll lose one game. And then the next game I'll play safe, and then I'll play greedy again, and I'm happy to take that gamble. He was a poker player. A very good poker player. And, yeah, and I was like, oh, I guess. I mean, I want to play solid. I want to play the game properly. And those who understand calculated gambles will always laugh at players who are obsessed with trying to be safe in every possible situation. There's no such thing. Being safe against everything is basically just being suboptimal in every situation that isn't the one situation where the risk actually arrives. Here we go. BYUN's going to go out with an 8 Marine drop into 3rd Command Center Raven Cyclone. So this is fascinating because he's doing a super economic build, and Classic is worried about a 2-base push. That's what he's kind of feinting right now. So this is what's really cool, because Protoss players on this map are so used to Terran just doing dumb all-ins because they don't want to play a macro game on such a big map, that they essentially have just... Oh, nice. He sees the 3rd Command Center. They've started delaying their 3rd and often playing very 2-base heavy and very safe. Often they build a shield battery before they even know what's happening. Oh, BYUN accidentally locks onto the wrong Phoenix. He does get some damage on it, but he could have killed the other one if he did that. Now, he's gone 2 Ravens. Okay, so 2 Ravens is a really stupid build to do against Phoenix. So, guys, what we're watching right now is BYUN having a brain... He basically had a plan before the game start, and he forgot to be a pro gamer and actually think about what you're doing. If you build a 3rd Raven, BYUN, I will actually be so upset. Thank God he's swapping it. Oh, my God. The 2 Ravens... I mean, this would be good if the Phoenix hadn't seen you were building Ravens... Because now, obviously, he's going to put pylons out there. If he sees them coming in, he just kills them with the Phoenix. Like, this is... Maybe he babysits these really well and they get good value in the later fights. It could work. It definitely could work. But this is so high risk. And especially when you're so late on your barracks because you're playing 3rd Command Center, you're really vulnerable to a lot of attacks as well. So a 2 Colossus timing is actually a game winner. Is Classic brave enough to commit to that, though? Because if he does, like, he literally can't lose. There's no tanks. There's 1 Cyclone. The Ravens can interference matrix. You just pull back and then you go back in. And it's unupgraded Marines. Give him 5 minutes. BYUN's going to have an amazing setup. But right now, he is basically unashamedly doing a poo in his mortal enemy's front yard. He pants around his ankles. Like, you guys know how dogs look around nervously before they drop a deuce? It's because they know they're in their most exposed state. BYUN's the guy who goes up to the rival dog that's always trying to bite his bloody tail off, and he does a poo right in front of it. This is like some ballsy asserting dominance. He's now going to move out with a handful of Marines, 2 Ravens, and a Cyclone. Like, the balls on this kid, man. And you know what? Classic's going to let him do it. Classic. Protoss sometimes getting a defensive mindset on this map. He's going Twilight Council. He's going Charge first. I mean, Classic's still up in supply and he's got a decent economy, but those Ravens are going to be able to max on energy and they actually might pay off if he could just shut down all the Colossus when the fight comes. And as long as he has enough bio, BYUN still shouldn't want to fight till about 9 minutes, guys. That's when the 3rd base will have fully paid off. And 2-2 upgrades is probably going to be the best moment for him. Notice he's actually got a well-timed armory, so we can start 2-2. If he can hit a big 2-2 timing or multi-drop and force a lot of scrappy fights when 2-2's done, that's where his upgrade lies. Upgrade advantage. Double Forge is on the way right now for Classic. He's going up to 8 gateways and Templar Archives as well. So Zealot, Archon, Phoenix, Colossus. No blink upgrading. Interesting. Oh, Charge still isn't done, Pig. Never mind. 4th base is on the way. I like that. It's a pretty well-timed 4th. And you can see BYUN's trying to set up some scouts on the map, but Adepts do beat Marines in single combat. It's like trying to fight your bigger brother. You know, like if you're 1 or 2 years apart, there's usually a turning point where you can, if you're fierce enough, you can fight them off from a pretty young age. But when it's like a 5-year age gap, like you better wait until you're a full-grown adult because you're not going to beat that. Like he's like a man and you're like 13, basically. It's not going to work. But if you call the boys, here we go. Oh, okay. Interesting fight. Good force field. Slap down some of those units. Oh, the interference matrices went down on 1 Colossus. Classic snap recalls, realizing he's in trouble. The Phoenix dive, kill both of those Ravens. He only loses 1 Phoenix. Oh my, yeah, that's the high risk scenario. You know, Classic did have to react very quickly to do that. So hats off to Classic. That could have gone better for BYUN if it was a lesser Protoss, but Classic kept his cool, kept his stuff together, and really did manage to slap that down. So now BYUN's basically just making mass 2-2 bio. I mean, he's got map control now, a little bit, which is good for him, but I still feel that the army of Classic is simply way better. So 3 more barracks going down for BYUN. Now, are we going to swap to Vikings or Medivacs? This is the big question about BYUN's strategy, guys. He's building Ghosts, he's building 2-2, you know, 8 barracks, all this cool stuff. His 4th base is building, but it's a little bit behind the 4th Protoss. Medivacs or Vikings is going to tell us everything. And the thing is, you might be wondering, why isn't he building either? The reason, guys, is every time he queues a round of units, he queues barracks units first and SCVs first, and he just doesn't have enough money because he's building so much infrastructure and upgrades right now. This is why you often see Terran players delay their 2-2, is because you don't have enough money to get that and everything else. Zealot drop comes in on that left side. Zealot on the right cleaned up by the Cyclone. 4 SCVs do go down. The Prism's going to warp in some Zealots there. BYUN, okay, he deals with the Prism in the main. The turret stops it getting out. He's got a big bio ball here. Those Colossus are a very real problem for him. Zealots in the natural trying to tear it up. They're trying to go after the engineering bays. And Classic's going to pull back on that side. If he could get the E-bays, that'd be big. But, man, the placement, they actually couldn't get the surface area. He picks up and drops in the main again, though. He says, oh, you like dropping the high ground, low ground? In BYUN, you like that? Like you did in game 1? Classic says, how about a taste of your own medicine? Does the Zealot drop, and no doubt feels a little bit of a sense of Protoss justice there. Oh, one Zealot still the natural. BYUN, a little scrappy right now. He's worried about that army hitting on the front. That's why a lot of his attention is, like, monitoring the front here. You guys might often wonder, I bet a lot of amateur players watch and they go, why are they so sloppy at cleaning out these drops? It's because, as far as BYUN knows, the army's ready to poke in and split his army with force fields and, like, kill half of it with Colossus. He needs to instantly stim, land EMPs, and potentially spread his army out if that fight happens. And that's why it's very, hard to defend all the bases at the same time. But a nice upgrade advantage for BYUN. He's going to move out. Observer sees him slipping down the right side. Good movement with that Observer to track where that army goes. Disruptors now being double produced, +3 attack does start. The 2-2 not quite halfway done for Protoss as a 5th base goes up on the left. Zealot's going to dive in on the 3rd one more time. Ghosts pull out their steady targeting and they do snipe down 2 of those Zealots. Oh, big stimmy into the main with this buy, but they're so wounded. Ow, 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 ow. Pulls back to the choke point, but he's only got 1 medevac there. Still enough firepower to make it worth it, apparently. Definitely clearing out those missile turrets on the left to open up that drop path for future would be a good move for Classic. Classic's really holding his own on altitude. I was critical of the fact that he didn't just go win the game after seeing a 3 command center opening, but you know what? I really do feel this has been Classic style for the last year. It is very defensive PvT, and then in the mid game he'll start doing Zealot run-bys, and in the late game he will start pushing the front while doing big Zealot DT run-bys. It's very vanilla, I guess you could say, PvT. But let's be real. This is the point where Protoss excels. It's this point when they have the big balls up and all that sort of stuff. The armies pass each other. Oh my god. Oh my god, he's about to get flanked. Oh my god, this is so messy. The Colossus left in the open. Oh no, Classic not watching. The Disruptors do go out. They land some decent hits. One Colossus on the right is still standing strong. Another Disruptor lands. One more goes out. The Disruptors seem to be landing big enough. The Zealots cleaning up the left flank. So many valuable Protoss units going down. That Colossus there does fall at the end. Oh, that's unfortunate, but Zealots cleared up the 4th. The Zealots in the main. The last stand of BYUN in the main base up against these Zealots. And with 2-2 versus 2-2, this was the perfect time for Classic to engage. Equal upgrades on both sides and all those splash damage units. It was a scrappy attempt to flank the army, catching the Colossus out of position for BYUN, but he never had any Vikings. He's still building Medevacs, Marines, Marauders, Ghosts. He's trying to just man mode this with the numbers. And yet he never really had that army advantage. So very well played there by Classic, tying up the series 1-1 on the big boy map. All right, guys, game number 3. BYUN here in the bottom right. Very chilled out openings, guys. We are seeing a gentleman's agreement to not scout. BYUN this game is not building a Marine or a Reaper. He's going straight reactor first after factory. This is the greediest opening I've ever seen, but it's not because Classic's not scouting either. Guys, this is the battle of who can scout less in this matchup. This is wild. This is absolutely wild. Have you guys seen this? If anyone's seen this opening, let me know in the comments. I've never seen someone just skip Marine and Reaper to get like everything down ever so slightly fast. I think the command center is a bit quicker than normal. I think he might have even gone command center before orbital actually, because that command center is very fast. Yeah, it started at 137. So I guess just by delaying the Marine, it just started 50 minerals earlier. That's amazing. Very cute opening, straight into a super quick starport, and he's just going to run the SCV to the high ground because he can't defend that until the Marines are out. Did you see that? He popped that in and then popped it out. Wow. BYUN teleported the SCV from there to there using micro. That's the sort of +3 minerals faster mind efficiency that only pro gamers do. Oh, he's hiding the Hellions and the Marines. He's trying to trap him. He's like, oh no, don't finish your shade. The Adept shades and is like, oh crap, it was a trap. Very nice move by BYUN. I don't think he's going to get the kill though. I think BYUN maybe could have hunted that down a little better. Still, good damage though. Good damage. That Adept's already very bruised up. Can't do too much more. And we've got a straight Phoenix play here for Classic this game. Similar to the last one. Now, Not going to scout. He's going to... Okay, so guys, the problem with Phoenix is you don't know what they're doing behind there. It could be 3 racks. If you don't scout and it's 3 racks, you're in big doo-doo. But I think Classic says, well, I'm going to go 2 base Colossus with this Phoenix Colossus anyway. So it's fine, number 1. Number 2, if I reveal the Phoenix, he knows that I have them and he won't be incentivized to drop. And you really want them to drop so your Phoenix can get value. Problem... He's actually gone such a fast robo. His Phoenix count is so bad. He's only just started the second Phoenix. This is something Classic likes to do, is open Stargate, but then not really commit to it if he feels it's not like the most valuable. He's like, yeah, we'll just get faster ground tech. We'll just get faster Colossus. It's like, it's almost Classic's special move is just super rushing towards Colossus when he feels it's the right thing to do. He's like, yeah, I don't need Stargate units right now. I think he's going to regret it in this game, though. I do think he's going to regret it. 8 Marine drop in the main. He already loses a Stalker. I mean, the Phoenix come down and they realize, oh god, 2 of my most important production structures are powered by 1 pylon. This is a disaster. Oh no, he's losing those. He's got 1 gateway up still. He's going to lose in Adept. The Phoenix are doing what they can. They pick off a few Marines. They're going to have to pick off that Cyclone. Good job there. But, oh my god, you don't want to lose that Reddit point. Okay, luckily this Phoenix on the bottom gets healed by the battery. This one will be able to as well if it goes south. It doesn't get there in time. The Stalkers will clean this up eventually. But at what cost, man? There's no third base here. You can't be affording to lose too many units. BYUN picks up and gets out at the last second. And the lack of Phoenix production really hurting. I mean, we see Classic special tactics. And I'm sure a lot of you are like, well, this is a disaster. But keep in mind, this would have worked great if BYUN was just turtling up, right? This would have worked amazingly if BYUN was like maybe going for a slightly later push around 5 minutes, and then you got a Colossus to greet it and Immortal out, whatever, you're in a good spot. But that sort of very fast drop that BYUN did really shut this down. Classic ends up going, oh man, that was not a good fight for me. Loses a bunch of valuable units, a pylon, a few probes, his 3rd is delayed. And now you've got BYUN set up on his map for a very easy win condition. Now keep in mind, very easy win condition. Because this is the best Terran map. You've got great tank positions all around. And the Protoss is already on the back foot. He's gone Phoenix. Phoenix are a very maneuverable unit that's good for controlling the map and picking away at your opponent as they push across a vast distance. This is Babylon. This is not a vast distance. Oh my god, BYUN just turned and attacked his Marine there. What the hell, dude? No bullying. I mean, he heals it up right after. That's kind of sick, though, right? He's like, yeah, I like to beat my Marines, and then I heal them and then do it again. BYUN's a sicko. No wonder his Marines are scared into loading into those medevacs, even when he tells them to just fly straight into a Protoss base. BYUN known for his ballsy drops. His soldiers known for standing their ground in the face of oncoming Banelings and Colossus. Phoenix poking around. There is a Raven. Man, that lock-on range is wild. 3 tanks and a pack of Marines. This is not that many Marines. Stim and stuff isn't done. This is a crazy push for BYUN. BYUN should back off right now. The fact that he hasn't been cleared by this army is already a godsend. BYUN, if you keep pushing forward, you're actually a crazy person. That battery can heal Colossus up to here. BYUN's mad. I think BYUN might have gone insane, guys. This push to me looks like an absolute bananas push. I know there's probes going to the 3rd and you want to punish it, but like, this is so close to the Protoss territory. And just imagine, a few lifts on the tanks from the Phoenix, 1 or 2 good shots from the Colossus in the middle of the Marines, and your game is ruined. Now, obviously, BYUN says that's fine. I can just snap Interference Matrix the Colossus, he can't push into this, and he's basically trusting those instincts. Apparently, Classics... Oh, here we go. Interference Matrix needs to go down. He gets 1 Interference Matrix off before the Phoenix snipe it down. The tanks get picked up, and... Yep, okay. Oh, no, the Marines focus down 1 Phoenix, 2 Phoenix. Oh, it's actually a pretty close fight, but I thought Classic was going to roll that harder. He still absolutely face rolled it, and it still was a very silly setup for BYUN, because even if he landed 2 Interference Matrixes, he just didn't have enough meat with that army. He's got a 3rd command center up. It was just a bit too exposed and a bit too ballsy, and does a half-assed kind of setup push, just sits there and lets Classic choose when and how to engage it. It's so hard to set up a push like that and then actually have a good fight, because they're the one who initiates. You're basically sitting there, and at any point they get to choose when to fight you. Obviously, you choose the position to some extent, but it's something where a lot of players always ask, I've been trying to learn how to contain my opponent better. I've been trying to siege up out here and contain them. And my number 1 phrase I say to newer players to StarCraft, amateur players, is containing is not a thing. Don't do it. It takes so much APM and actions, because usually it means you're just sitting there and your army's way better than theirs when you first set it up. but then you wait for 2 minutes and then their army's better than yours, and you're like reinforcing slowly across the map. So not only do you let them pick when the fight happens, like when an upgrade finishes or a certain unit pops, like when their army hits a strong point, you're also almost always looking at home, building a supply depot when the fight starts, and you're like, ugh! And you look back at the front and you're like, oh my lord, okay, you know, half my stuff's dead before the fight even, you know, gets microed by me. So it's always very tentative. And the longer you stay, the higher risk it is. So anytime you are doing a contain, it's kind of like the general rule is the longer you stay, the more chance of them having like the perfect bust to break it open. So I like that BYUN was ballsy enough to siege it up, but staying there with a relatively quick third command center, good upgrades, good tech behind it, definitely an overcommitment for him. And I think Classic's now in an absolutely stellar position. Great snap recall, saves the prism from the double Viking. BYUN is building a lot of Vikings this time, so it looks like he wants to actually go non-stop tank Viking production. Usually when a Terran player is doing this early, these are very expensive units, tanks and Vikings. Notice he can't even keep up production non-stop. That often means they're going to delay the 4th command center and delay the armory. But he actually has an armory and a 2nd engineering bay already. Never mind, guys. Tank production has halted. Viking production's halted for a moment. BYUN might just be turtling up. Is he going to channel Maru? Yeah, I think he's going to chuck a Maru, guys. We all know what Maru does when he's behind in a PvT. He just turtles up and tries to play the best defensive game ever. I think that's what his plan is as well. Mass Zealot, Colossus, Archon coming forward. Only a few Phoenix left from the early game and no Blink on the way. You know, I would say this is a bad move normally to have Blink so late in this game, but I think Classic has had so much vision. He realizes that BYUN's in a defensive stance and that BYUN doesn't feel like he can leave with even a single dropship. Because if he moves out with a dropship, he'll just die, right? So he knows that BYUN's kind of paranoid right now. He's outnumbered. And he's waiting outside Sensor Tower Vision. Classic's just going for it. Classic's just going for it. He's got to click that command center down. He's got to click the command center down to open up the path. He does it. The Phoenix picking up a few tanks, delaying a few of those shots. The Zealot Archon getting on top. The Colossus finally coming in from the back, but the tanks are already gone to the Master Zealot. And that was a beautiful 1-1 timing. 4th command center had not finished building for BYUN. BYUN was trying to build a 5th command center, a 4th command center, double upgrades and all of the tech. He did not think Classic would go for the bust, but Classic's observer saw his game plan, knew what he was doing, and he strikes in for a very clean victory. Beautiful break on the contain by Classic. Nice game. Very nice game. All right. Let's go to game number 4. BYUN there, getting a bit too loosey-goosey with the soft contain. And Classic came in with a hard break on that, man. You really got to respect Classic's ability to break out of situations. The early game, I think, was so good for BYUN, and sometimes when you're winning a game, you start to make stuff up as you go a little bit, you know? I often call those half-baked plans, where basically it's something where in the moment, it seems like genius. Like inspiration hits you, it seems like genius, and often there is like a good idea there. The problem is it's a half-baked idea. It's not practiced, and if you've never practiced or really deeply thought through the follow-ups and the situations, you're going to overcommit to a terrible position. And that's exactly what I think BYUN did last game. He said, oh, contain would be really good. Now I can just get a 3rd up behind it. He's going to be so paranoid. I'll like entrench this position, rally across. I don't even need to force the fight until my upgrades are done. All right, then I could even unsiege and just go home and do like a 3-base push later. Like, this would be great. But he didn't deeply think about the fact that, hey, maybe after the first 20, 30 seconds there, you should get the heck out. Because you know Classic's going to be cutting probes, pumping units, and preparing a break, and BYUN just kind of misjudged the time on when that would be ready. What? Oh my god, this is such a greedy build. He's just... And the thing is, he didn't even pull off gas. Are you going to the factory version? Why has he got so much gas? That's too much gas. Okay, if you're doing the 3cc build, you're meant to pull off gas early. You're not meant to be banking this much gas, because you need to get 3 racks up as quickly as possible. BYUN's botched this build order, I think. You guys let me know if I'm wrong on that. I haven't done the build order before, but whenever I've seen Kua or Maru do this, they don't have this much gas banked up. They have a faster 3rd command center and a faster 3rd barracks with the extra minerals. On the other hand, he does have an early reactor, and he's pumping Marines very fast. And I always appreciate the safety that gives you. And you can see the Adept Shade only has 4 vision. It can't see that command center. So really well placed on that. I do like this setup. It's not a bad build order, the 3 racks. I would say the big problem with doing this build, it automatically dies to 4-gate blink. If the 4-gate blink is very well executed, you will always die to hero or max specs doing that. But Classic's open Stargate every game. Classic and Showtime are very defensive Stargate-oriented Protoss players. This is how I like to play PvT as well. It's very reliable opening. But guess what? Stargate kind of sucks first. Fast third command center. So this is BYUN actually playing very intelligently. As critical as I am of the opening, look at that gas floating, guys. You can see poorly optimized opening. I don't know. I swear I've seen BYUN do this opening properly before as well. He might have been one of the first guys I saw do the 3 command center. So bizarre to see him slipping up on it. But on the other hand, he's delaying his second gas by such a long time, and that's really nice. The Stalker can out-micro these Marines for days, man. Phoenix flies in, sees the second and third barracks, sees the factory going down. I believe he should be able to tell, just from the timings, what's going on, that it is a third command center, even though he hasn't seen it yet. Picks off how many? Only 2 Marines. He definitely wants number 3 and 4. Maybe number 5 if he's lucky. Gotta pull back the weak ones, BYUN. BYUN's being a little sloppy on his micro right now. I guess he's just trying to buy time for this bunker. Another Marine goes down. You got a target fire here, which is what Classic's doing. If you don't target a specific Marine, the way units work is they kind of scan the area in front of them very quickly, pick a target, and then shoot whatever's closest. And a lot of people don't realize that's how the unit behavior works. So basically, it's a fraction of a second difference. But when you're looking at this level of play, actually manually targeting the Marine at the front makes it immediately shoot on that rather than kind of go, hey, which unit should I shoot? And that, a couple of milliseconds difference means you can get the shot off and get away with the Marines landing almost no hits. Whereas if you just attack move on the ground, that Stalker takes a bit longer to fire. Robo Bay is there, third base, about halfway done. Phoenix are going to come in. Now he's still building Phoenix, but I don't think they're the most important unit in this game. He's now spotted that third command center. Yeah, I think he might not have realized earlier because I feel like this third would have started about 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds earlier if he realized this was 3cc. BYUN's going to be ahead in this game. And as good as this map is for Protoss stopping front pushes, I almost always see Protoss lose this map due to a lack of map vision, and Terran surprises them with a push. It's a spread out map. There's a lot of paths across the map. And pretty much, I would say 8 out of 10 PVTs, the Protoss is like doing well, and then the Terran army somehow slips by and just kills a base for free. And then the Protoss scrambles over to defend it, and then it drops in their main base they didn't see coming, and then they just lose the game. So, wow, this is wild. Classic is right now posturing up, guys. It's like an animal getting up on its hind legs and pretending it's bigger than it is. And BYUN's there. He's like the Cobra in this scenario. He's the more threatening animal. He's got serious venom with this army and this build, with stim and concussive. But he doesn't know that his opponent's about. He has no vision. He's completely blind. I mean, I'm telling you guys, there's no scouting in these games. It's wild how little they're scouting in the early game. BYUN is just happy to play blind, man. He's happy to play very blind and just have a better, more efficient opening. He just scanned and took out an observer. Okay, you guys, many of you would have seen me cast BYUN versus MaxPax in the weekly cup recently. He spotted every single Dark Templar, every single observer. And you know what, guys? I actually just messaged him. And I said, BYUN, do you have a special setting? Because MaxPax couldn't believe it either. The number of times a random DT would walk past his army in the top of the map and he'd instantly scan and kill it. And I was like, dude, this is ridiculous. So I said, look, what are your graphics settings? Like, you must have a special setting, right? So you can see invisible units better. And BYUN's like, no, just medium. I just got lucky. I just happen to see, I just happen to have my camera in the right place and happen to notice. And I'm like, okay, all right, BYUN. I still think what makes him so good in this matchup is the fact that DTs and observers tend to almost always instantly die against him. Okay, good quick pull here. Oh, that Immortal recalled in a really funny position. That's kind of a bummer. Does lose it, but, bunch of supply goes down. Oh my god, this is just too much. There's too much. His 8 gateways are coming up, but there's no charge. He's not ready. He's just not got enough stuff. The Phoenix aren't good enough. The 3cc opening now paying off with this +1 mass biotiming, a random siege tank arriving at the front as well. A little bit disjointed there. A lot of those bio units going down as well. He gets the Colossus though. He dives on the Colossus. Probes are running away from the natural into the bio army at the third base. BYUN's just going to click on that Nexus and then take that out. Oh my god, Classic. He's got mass slow zealot here. He's got no charge. He's got no Twilight upgrades. I don't know if he forgot to get those upgrades or it was just too late in the game. But absolutely getting rolled over here. BYUN playing a super greedy opening. And Classic getting punished for never playing 4-gate blink. This is why 4-gate blink is such an important build, guys. I've always said Stargate is the best opening on paper versus Terran. The problem is that if they know you're going to play Stargate every game, Terran can take advantage of you. And this is a fantastic way of doing it. BYUN playing a very smart game for pushing the momentum back in his mode. He's not going to be going down 3-1. BYUN says, I'm the favorite in this match, Classic. You're washed up, man. You went to the military. You learn how to do stuff with guns and stuff. I've been here telling the men with guns how to fight the entire time. You're a foot soldier. I'm the officer, mate. Classic says, well, I'm going to put up a last fight stand anyway. Nice. Stalker pickups. Nice immortal pickups. Hey, if you're going to go out with a bang and some very slick Warp Prism Micro here for Classic. But he does have to tap out. He's just way too outnumbered, guys. GG. Well played. BYUN ties up the series. All right, guys. Let's go game number 5. And oh my god, BYUN is not scouting. Can you believe it? But Classic is. Classic is like game 5. There's no way I'm taking that risk again. I've done it 4 times in a row, no scouting. We better scout. We better scout. We better scout. Oh god, oh god, oh god. And you know what? It doesn't really pay off because it's the most normal 1-Rex expand ever. I guess he could block the expansion, but he doesn't see the SCV, unfortunately. BYUN even hid the SCV a little bit, and he gets it down. Oh, he's not building a Marine right now, guys. He went Command Center before that, which means the Marine is going to be out very, very late. So he's going to have to pull this SCV down here to try and help. Notice he's not showing another SCV. He's relying on Classic being a bit scaredy cat. Ah, okay. BYUN gets away with a bit of a naughty there. If that probe decided to keep attacking, it could have done a lot of damage. As it is, a very quick factory build for BYUN once more. And wouldn't it be crazy if Classic just 4-gate blinks and wins? So for those who don't know, Classic is known as being a less popular player for fans to follow because he doesn't have as distinctive a style. The thing is, he can still execute to nearly as good as Hero, like a 4-gate blink. Like, he can still execute the macro Stargate play, you know, even though that's his main style. He can still cannon rush. He can just still bring out any build. But maybe he is, because he used to really be good at, like, picking his builds. It feels like he's like, no, Stargate is the way to win. I just need to play better. That's it. I just got to play better. And fair enough. I mean, if he's confident with it, I'm okay with it. I always am like, oh, man, I feel like you just got to mix that 4-gate blink in just even once in a best of 5 so you can't get counted too hard. But this looks pretty standard for BYUN. Just a Widowmine Marine opening so far. We've got a whole beer discussion started in chat in between the games. Let me know your favorite beer in the YouTube comments if you guys are watching this after the fact. I feel like my favorite of recent years has been overpriced fancy Belgian beers. Those things are just general, anything that's made by a monk. You know, there's something about a dude who's celibate. It's like he takes all that energy from not feeling the touch of a woman and puts it into making like the best beer you can possibly taste. You're like, oh my god, Abbey beer tastes so good. Like, you guys have figured some stuff out. You just needed to renounce physical pleasure, and apparently you become a god of making beer. Who knew? Anyways, yeah, I'm a big fan of a lot of give me like a Leffe or something. It's bloody good, man. Anyways, Raven's on the way, so it's going to be a 2 Widowmine drop into Raven. Oh, this is like super standard. Yes, super standard play. And the thing is, the Phoenix is going to come in and scout and give away that he's going Phoenix. I wonder, does BYUN still go in knowing there's a Phoenix on the wrong side of the map, or does he hide? So he's got 2 options. Hide up in the top of the map, wait to come in much later and pair it up with something else, or just dive, knowing the Phoenix are on your side of the map. And yeah, he's going to go in. Phoenix are on the wrong side. There's also only 2 Phoenix. It's such a bizarre playstyle Classic plays where he just builds a couple of Phoenix. He never has the shutdown count, you know? It's really a very different way of playing Stargate, but oh man, the drop, redrop, not letting them fire. This is just like, hey, you don't get to mine your main base, idiot. You know, very well played here by BYUN. Oh, he's so frustrating, but he's going to lose one. And if he unburrows one more time... Oh, the probes are both in range, so he keeps changing targets. Classic, you need to pull this probe. Or you could do this all day. Classic, you have to pull this. He hunts down the medevac. Oh my god, BYUN! You can't leave... Because the thing is, if they've only got one target, the only way they can stop it firing is by unburrowing, which makes it exposed. But Classic, by leaving 2 probes in range, let BYUN micro that for so long. And that is an immense amount of mining time he loses. Look at the income. Very even... Slightly Classic's favor, and then it's like 1,000 minerals a minute for a good 30-40 seconds. So that's a lot of damage, man. That's a big income advantage. Oh my lord. I mean, he doesn't take many actual losses, so that's of course the advantage. Is units lost tab looks good, but that doesn't count mining time, does it? All right, we've only got 2 Phoenix straight into Colossus. Classic is playing such an old school style here, man. I love that he's so confident playing his fundamentals, because all modern knowledge in 2023 of the meta is like, you can't do this. You need a lot more Phoenix, or you need Blink, otherwise they can drop you to death. And Classic's like, dude, if I have enough Colossus early enough, enough ground units, I can build a good enough economy, and as long as I position correctly, I can just defend and be good. And people will say, yeah, I mean, technically it seems like you should be able to, but it never works, man. And Classic's like, I will keep practicing it and trying it over and over again against the best players in the world until I get this down. And he actually looked quite good with this style versus Maru in GSL last year. I think it was Season 3 when he made it into GSL last year. And yeah, he actually looked really good. And then obviously Maru just bopped him at a certain point in the game, but it was like, oh, you're getting to the mid game pretty even. And then, oh, Maru would catch you out of position. But you could tell he was close to making it work. And that's against the best Terran in the world. So here we go. Big push out coming out, guys. Lots of Marine Marauder, Stim, Shields, +1, all finishing in about 30, 40 seconds. Good Phoenix value right now. What do we got, though? 2 Colossus. Viagra's almost finished. 3rd Colossus won't be ready for a while. The batteries are so far out. I think that's what I like about Classic, is these batteries can heal to like there and there. So there's not much of an exposed area in between where the Terran can catch you out of position. Now, where are those Phoenix? Looks like they've recalled home, I believe. Did he recall them? Yes, he did. Oh, no, Classic! He doesn't know where the army is. Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. No, Classic. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, and then run! Classic, get out of there! He's actually going to go for it even with the interference matrices on top? Mad dog. Classic. Is this actually going to work? Whoa, it worked! I would be so panicked seeing my Colossus get interference matrix. But he just knew that he had enough gateway units and the Immortal. He said, yeah, this is the advantage of not investing in early upgrades. I just have more stuff. I've got more Phoenix, Immortals, gateway units. I can take that fight. And BYUN, I thought that was a really crisp timing. Maybe his combat shields wasn't quite ready, but I think everything was ready. I'm going to have to rewatch that fight at the end of this game, guys. This might just be it. You might just be able to kill him now. 3 Colossus, what do you got? You don't have any tanks. No bunker, no tank. Oh, no. No thank you very much is what BYUN's saying. He can't believe that fight went so bad. He completely blindsided Classic, but it turns out he just went a bit too deep, I guess. And Classic had the numbers for that fight. Classic wasn't being too greedy. He had the perfect unit count. He's now got a vicious attack coming in. The Colossus are going to stutter step down. The SCV pull is not very good versus Colossus. And look at this. The Immortal may fall, as does the Stalker. There's a few Marauders left, but they all get picked up. The Phoenix take out the Marauders. And what the hell? That was brutal. We have to immediately rewatch that fight. Classic making a huge upset happen and getting to the top 4 of this tournament is just a shock. An absolute shock, man. He's not meant to win this series. Very impressive. Very impressive. I've been talking Classic up for a while, but I never truly believe it. I'm like, eh. Okay, what you got to realize is this didn't look that scary. Notice there's actually 2 Adepts, 5 Zealots, a Stalker, and a Sentry. So even though the Colossus get interference matrixed, so he takes a tank shot. Does he battery overcharge? He does. He battery overcharges, does a little bit of healing. The Sentry Guardian Shields immediately, and Combat Shields was not ready. Neither was +1. Oh, it actually wasn't, guys. So he pushed in 8 seconds before +1 was finished, 13 seconds before Combat Shields was finished. That's a big mistake. And look, his Marauders are actually in the back. You want the Marauders in front to try and tank a little bit more for you, right? He also, if he stutter step back a little bit more, he could have fought the Zealots out of the Sentry range potentially. But because they don't have charge, they actually stay in Sentry range really well until that gets focused down. And the Immortal actually does really well versus the tanks. The Phoenix start picking them up. And wow, that was that was almost like an anti-push. And the thing is, if you look at this as well, look at before the fight starts, guys. The worker count is very similar, which is amazing for Terran. He actually has his 3rd command center almost finished. Classic doesn't have that much stuff, and his Twilight and Forge is nowhere to be seen. So he's actually not got a good position at all. 2 gateways, a Robo, a Stargate. Classic actually wants to fight right now, and BYUN hands it to him on a platter. So BYUN, I think, he scanned that army, and he thought, oh yeah, that's not that many units, but you can see how many units were hiding under the Colossus. Really well played here by Classic. Very well played. GG's, and hats off to him for going to the semifinals.